Key signatures. The first thing to know about key signatures is that the flats or sharps in that key signature are always going to appear in the same order every time. There might be a different number of them, but however many there are, they're going to be there in the same order. You'll never get some random assortment of them. For flats, that order is as follows. If you have one and only one flat, it's going to be B flat. That's your first flat that's going to pop up next to your clef. The second flat to appear would be E. The third would be A, followed by D, then G. The sixth flat would be C, and the final flat would be F. Any and all of the letters that we use, any of the notes that we use could be flat, but in your key signature, they will appear in this order. Okay, you will never just see, let's say, a C flat in your key signature. If you do, something's gone horribly wrong. There's also an order for the sharps. It's very similar, works in a similar way. Oops, order of sharps. The first sharp that you'll have, if you only have one sharp, it's gonna be F every time. The second sharp to appear will be C, third will be G, fourth will be D, then A, then E, and the last sharp to appear in the key signature is B. Now these two orders are related. There's a pattern to them, and if you check this out, the order of sharps is just the order of flats backwards, right? So F is the first sharp to appear, but it's the last flat to appear. G is the third sharp. It's the third to last flat. D happens fourth for both of them. They're just a mirror image of one another. There are various ways to remember this order. A common one for the flats is the word bead, followed by GCF for greatest common factor from math class. So bead, greatest common factor. The sharps I've heard as an acronym for, let's see, it's fat cats go down alleys eating birds. Whatever works. You might also notice that they are a certain interval apart. The flats appear in fourths. So if you start on B and you count letters, B is 1, C is 2, D is 3, E is 4. So they're a fourth apart. You start on E, you go E, F, G, A, 4 notes up to A, and you can go so on. The flats work similar to that. You go F, G, A, B, C. They are each a fifth apart. C, D, E, F, G. C to G is a fifth. So each of the flats is a fourth apart. Each of the sharps is a fifth apart. That's another way to remember it if you're a numbers person. Now, how do these appear in your key signature? Like that, every time. Okay, they will always go on those lines and those spaces in that order. So when you have a B flat pop up, it's always going to be on the third line for treble clef, the second line for bass clef. They're always going to pop up in this order. The sharps are always going to pop up in this order. That's also why, or you'll also notice, in the key that only has two flats, they're going to look like that: B flat and E flat. And the key that has five sharps, or three sharps rather, they're going to look like that. Those three in that order on those lines and spaces. Okay, now let's figure out how we identify the names of the keys. If you're real good with your major scales, you can just kind of take whichever flats or sharps you're playing in that scale and push them all toward the clef, and then then you know what it is. So for instance, let's take our B flat scale. You start on B flat, you got B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat. So you played B flat, you played E flat. You push those over to the clef. There's your key signature for B flat. Okay, you could do the same with sharps. Your G scale, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, sharp, G. Okay, you push the one sharp you had over to the clef. The key of G sharp looks like that. It's just got the one sharp, the F sharp, and the key signature. There are also some tricks. This works for some people that don't know their scales very well, or just easier to visualize this. With the flats, if you look at your however many flats you have, and you go to your second to last flat. So for instance, if you have 4 flats in your key signature. You find your second to last flat, and that's the name of the key. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4 flats, the second to last flat is A flat. This is the key of A flat. If you have, let's say, no, well, we already did that one. How about if we do 3 flats? The second to last flat is E flat. So this is the key of E flat. The only one that doesn't work for is 1 flat because there is no second to last flat. So for 1 flat, you just have to be smart and remember that that is the key of F. F has 1 flat. For the sharps, you're going to find whatever your last sharp is and go up to the next note. So for instance, to use the example we used earlier with the key of G, you just have 1 sharp. That 1 sharp is F sharp. You go up to the next note. What's the next note after F? Or what's the next note after F sharp? It's G. That's the key of G. If you have, let's say, 4, let's go 5. We did 4 already. You have 5 sharps. The last sharp is A sharp. You go up to the next note. What note comes after A sharp? Well, it's B. The key of B has 5 sharps in it. Now with the sharps, there aren't any catches, except that when you get to 6 and 7 sharps, you have to take into account what's already sharp here. So for instance, 6 sharps, the final sharp is E sharp. It's weird to even think about E sharp. The next note higher from E sharp is F, but F is already sharp. So the key with 6 sharps is F sharp, the key of F sharp major. 7 sharp, same way. The last sharp is B sharp. You go up to the next note, which is C. However, C is already sharp in the key signature, so 7 sharps is the key of C sharp. Now there is one more key signature that isn't here. If you have no sharps or no flats, just your clef, nothing else, everything else is natural, that is the key of C. You can think of that as C is clean. There's nothing there, to modify within the key signature. Everything is natural. So there you have it. There's the order flats, the order sharps, and your method for identifying and building key signatures.